Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm Naoma Narissa Sadler, and I am the founder of WomenServe. And a big welcome to the Day of the Girl virtual celebration. We are coming together to celebrate the International Day of the Girl Child and the last day of our first ever virtual Walk for Girls and Water. It's been a tremendous success these last 10 days, and we have had so many new people join us. So thankful to all of you. And we're thankful to all of you who are virtually joining us this evening. And I want to say a very special thank you again to our walkers and people who have run or who have done other activities. It's been such a fabulous campaign. There's been some very creative people out there that have done other things besides walking outside. So, and I just want to acknowledge all of the other women and girls around the world who are being disproportionately impacted by this COVID-19. So to say things are much different than when we last met last year for the last Day of the Girl event would be a huge understatement. However, there is always silver linings in every challenge, I believe, and WomenServe has had some very positive outcomes from having to pivot and evolve how we do our work, from how we fundraise to how we spread the word about our mission and vision to how we operate. It's all had to change and evolve. And we've had tremendous gratitude for the connections that we have been making and that have transpired through this difficult time. So I really want to take a moment to thank everyone tonight for making this night possible. It's been amazing to see the enduring support from all of you. And I want to take a moment to especially thank our sponsors for 2020 Day of the Girl. I want to give a really special shout out to Apex Marketing, Traditional Medicinals, Naturogenics, and Global Overview, and also Mother Parker's Tea and Coffee. Thank you for your support. We so appreciate it. We know it's different joining us here virtually than in an in-person event. And we really wish we could see all of your faces and we could sit down and have a meal and hug and be close. But instead, we get to reach you and hopefully even more people through this new time of digital events. So there's the opportunity in that. And I want to take a moment to say to all the walkers, it's so heartwarming for me to see all of your social media posts and stories where you're speaking to our mission and vision and spreading the word for our work. It's been so wonderful to see. And we have a wonderful evening lined up with some very special guest speakers. We have footage of our team in India sharing the work that's going on. We have updates from the Walk for Girls and Water, and especially we have some special highlights from our auction and our WomenServe shop, which we have launched for this event. And the shop will stay open forever, or as long as we can keep it open, and it's gonna be Shop for a Cause. All the proceeds go to the women and girls we serve. So now I just wanna invite you all to settle in. It will be about an hour-long program, and I hope you're wearing some very comfy pajamas, snuggling into your couch or bed with your loved ones, with your nice glass of hot traditional medicinals tea or wine or whatever drink of choice you might have. Maybe it's water, and we all know how important water is, and water is life. So settle in, enjoy, and thank you for joining.
name is Christine Glenn, and I have had the good fortune of working with WomenServe for a couple of years now. And I am delighted to talk with you a little bit about the program today. Kalu's story is just a glimpse of the impact of giving women and girls water, which is the heart of WomenServe's mission. Because when she has water, she has health, education, and opportunity. For over 10 years, we have been working to see this come to light, to unlock the potential of women and girls in Western Rajasthan, India, by increasing access to water, health, and hygiene, education, and economic empowerment. We do the first part through the construction of tankas, like the one Kalu has, which collects rainwater and ensures that women have water through the hot, dry season, and that they do not have to walk for up to 10 hours. Through this simple solution, women and girls get back their time and can instead access health and hygiene resources, go back to school, and work to earn an income. Water changes everything and helps women and girls take control of their futures. Now with the coronavirus pandemic, this work is needed now more than ever, as women and girls in India and the rest of the world are facing harsher challenges and greater risks to their health, livelihoods, and their very futures. We will hear more about how COVID is disproportionately impacting women and girls, but we know we have to sustain this work to ensure that women and girls in these communities can make it through and recover from the effects of coronavirus. And that is why your support is more crucial than ever. So we want to take a moment to highlight some of the ways you can help make an impact. If you haven't seen it already, we have an amazing auction with beautiful items from vacation getaways to art, wine packages, and more. But we want to highlight an item with an amazing story, a water pot that was once used by a woman in the Thar Desert. This pot belonged to Rameshwari, who would walk 8 hours daily with her young daughter Arushi to gather water. Now she has a rainwater catchment tank by her home and no longer needs this pot. Arushi and Rameshwari are safe today, thanks to water. You can bid on this pot today and help give water to more girls and women in need. Go to the link below, charityauction.bid/DOTG2020 to find this pot and other exclusive auction deals. Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Edna Adnan Ismail, a woman from Somaliland who has devoted her life to advancing the health, well-being, and futures of countless women. Edna has an incredible story. She began training as a nurse and midwife in London in the 1950s, then went on to work as a midwife trainer for the World Health Organization. She became the First Lady of Somalia and then the first woman director in the Somali Ministry of Health. Edna built and now runs the Edna Adan Maternity Hospital in Somaliland, with the aim of improving women's health in a region with one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the world. Today, Edna will be speaking with Lata Raman, WomenServe's India Country Director. Here's to you, Lata.
Edna Adan Ismail, welcome. We are delighted to have you join us in celebrating the Day of Girls. Edna, I'll go straight to our first question. We would like to know from you about your growing up in Somaliland as a woman, as a girl. And do you have any particular memory or a story, incident that you would like to share with us, which led you actually to take up this cause for the rights of women and girls?
Any effort deployed to do something about water, the availability of water for people, is worth every effort. And I'm happy and grateful that your organization is speaking out for the millions of people who are usually women and young girls who have to walk for miles and miles every day, carrying heavy loads on their heads, loads of water for the family to drink, to cook with, to wash with. I come from a desert. Somaliland is a desert. So water is very precious to us. When it comes to the role of women in general, I think the first frustration was in my childhood when my male cousins were going to school. We were at the same age, we played together, we grew together, but then when it was school time, they could go to school and I had to stay behind because I was a girl. And I could not understand why they could learn something and I was not given the chance to learn the same thing. And I'm grateful to my father, Dr. Adam, who then arranged the veranda in our house to become a classroom where the boys in the neighborhood would come in the afternoon to do their homework. And my father hired a teacher for them to help the boys with the homework and help them with their writing and the spelling. And of course, this is in my house. It is paid for by my father, a teacher who is, has been hired by my father. So whatever they were taught in the morning, I was taught in the afternoons. And because there were so many boys and I was the only girl, it made me very competitive. And I wanted to show the boys that I was as good as they were to learn. And this gave me a passion for learning. To this day, I'm 83. I love learning. I'm excited with learning something new, stimulates me. So it has, that is how I picked up this, how should I say, desire to learn. And it has helped me to become a role model for other families with their daughters. And if Dr. Adam allowed his girl to learn to read and write and study with boys, it was not such a bad thing after all. And it also became my mission that education, learning to read and write, would help me do good things in life, not become a negative thing. I didn't want my mother's neighbors and her lady friends to say, "Ah, what a shame, you taught your daughter to read and see what she has become. See how she has dishonored you. See how she has brought shame upon you." So I was determined that education was going to be an honorable thing that would give every boys and girls a good opportunity.
Okay. All right. So, Edna, you have devoted your life helping people, especially women and girls, educating them and also in motivating them towards, the field of healthcare. So, have you seen changes in Somaliland? What are the changes that have come about when it comes to women and girls in your country? And what is your contribution? All these years that you have worked, what has been your contribution that has really made a lasting impact?
Well, first of all, it has brought women and girls into the forefront. Now, education is the same for everybody.
Yeah.
And then as I grew up and I studied in England and I saw the standard of healthcare in Europe and then later in America, I saw how different it was. The women in other countries, in Europe, America, developed countries, have so many opportunities to help them in their life, to prevent disease, to save their children. When my women in my country, were suffering from diseases that could have been prevented and could easily be treated. And I became a midwife. So my job, my focus was to deliver babies, to look after pregnant women, to stop them from dying of complications of the pregnancy, from losing a child after 9-10 months of pregnancy, to lose a child in childbirth. These are tragic things that should not happen if it can be prevented. So the world had so many things that needed fixing. I cannot fix everything. And I'm not even sure if I can fix one thing, but at least I would try to focus, give my attention to women and their reproductive health and their reproductive rights. So I started, when I came back from England, to start training the first midwives in my country, show them how to do midwifery the scientific way, the way that they do it in Europe, in America. And so it has taught me to teach, it had taught me to lead, it has taught me to supervise, and it has taught me to speak for our women. Because our women, from the day they're born, they're told, shh, you're a girl, be quiet. Shh, you're a girl, keep your voice down. You're a girl, don't do this. And all this pressure on women just makes them say, okay, all right. And the world consists of all of us. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a right to voice their opinion, and particularly in matters that concern them and their health. So it has taught me to be to defend the cause of women and girls. And if I see something is wrong, and my conscience tells me that what is being done to this child or what is being done to this woman is wrong, then I think it would be wrong for me not to say it and not to defend that woman or that child.
So, Edna, the COVID pandemic around the world is posing a lot of challenges, to all the work that is being done by many people around the world, especially women and girls as well. It's a new kind of challenge that we're all facing. So how has the COVID pandemic impacted your work in Somaliland? And how do you think, what is it about the future of women and girls, maybe now with the pandemic and once it's over?
It's a country that we, the people of the country, are building. So our knowledge is not sufficient to fight Corona. Our technology is not sufficient, advanced enough. We can't do any research. We can't do any vaccines. We cannot do much with the basic health services that we have in place. So everything that was coming to us from abroad has stopped. Experts who were coming to help us teach or to operate or to work with us have stopped because there's been a shutdown, no flights. We have been locked in. So Corona has affected us in a very, very bad way. Luckily, it has, so far there's been a couple of thousand confirmed cases, which is not much compared to other countries, but we have also lost 50 or 60 people to it. There's still 60 members of families who were loved by somebody who have died to this pandemic. And there could be many more who have died who have not been diagnosed or confirmed. But Corona has also consumed the space that we had in hospitals, the beds that we had in hospitals. And the health workers, there's so few, they're taking care of those who have respiratory problems, rather than, the ones with broken bones or whatever diseases, they have become secondary. Primary cases are Corona. The pandemic is sucking up resources, human, material, medical, academic, every resource it's sucking up. What will be the consequences? I don't know, but if it continues like this, many countries, the economies of many countries are going to be destroyed. And of course, when an economy is destroyed, everything else suffers. Education suffers, health suffers, security suffers, civil, social services suffer. Things that we take for granted, we don't even see or we just take for granted. When there are no resources, will come to the surface. And there are many other diseases that could be controlled. They're also coming to the surface, like measles. We have the measles. The measles vaccines has been, discovered many, many years ago, or the polio vaccines have been discovered, and the tetanus and the diphtheria, the whooping cough. All of these have been useful vaccines that have protected our children for so long. But if the vaccines no longer come to us, measles is going to come up, polio is going to come up, whooping cough, we're seeing some cases are going to come up.
Yeah.
Malaria is going to come up because there will be treatment. So things that we could keep down and prevent or control or treat are suddenly going to go again, explode again. So it'll be back to 30, 40 years. The world will have to go back 30, 40 years. Smallpox was eliminated 40 years ago. We were about to eliminate polio. But I think it's going to jump back. Measles is rampant. So that's the threat. It's not only the cases that are, who die of corona, but it's all the other neglected diseases because of corona that are going to kill people.
So Edna, we don't know how long this pandemic is going to last, right? These are indeed challenging times. In your opinion, what is it that we can do now and in the future, especially with respect to women and girls?
Well, first of all, I think we need to accelerate, expand, strengthen our health education, prevention, social distancing, masks wearing, yashmaks, purda, anything that prevents my cough or your cough from spreading it. So to control the disease is important. Yeah. And I think women's organizations must also stay together, join their efforts to prevent violence against women and stop women from getting weaker than they were yesterday so that people can step on them harder than they could yesterday. So this is the only thing. And we hope and pray that men are listening to this interview, because we depend on men. We depend on our brothers, fathers, and uncles, and male cousins to protect us. And they should not be the enemy from whom we are being protected now. This is not the place for our men. The place for our men is for them to be the leaders of this family, the heads of this family, the protectors of the family. Whoever is weak, whoever is old, whoever is young, is someone who needs to be protected by the strong members of that family. So I think stronger health education and stronger counseling is very much in order. There is no medicine that we can say we will take that and it will stop all the wrongs of this world. No, but I think the word of mouth and the example of the few good people, and because there are good people in this world, needs to be given importance and need to be shared. And we should not be afraid to defend the weak. We should not be afraid to defend those who have special needs, who have physical disabilities, who are poor, or who are considered to be below our status. We are all the same. We all have the same status. We are all human beings. You take the jewelry and the clothes off, we're all human bodies, created the same way. And we should all have that respect for each other. That would make our world a better place. Yeah.
So finally, Edna, some questions to know you as a person, What would you say to your 20-year-old self?
When I was 20 years old, well, first of all, I was studying in England. I was studying in an environment where things were, efficient, orderly. I didn't know how, and of course, I left when I was 17 years old. So my 20-year-old did not know all about the violence there is, the pressure there is on poor countries and developing countries. My 20-year-old self did not know how many obstacles were waiting for me. And I would tell my 20-year-old self, value every minute of your life, better yourself, because there are so many challenges waiting for you. You have another 60 or 70 years of challenges waiting for you, you 20-year-old. So prepare yourself for it. Don't run away from it.
So the second question, to know you better, what is your guiding principles, Edna?
Respect for human rights and dignity. That's it.
Any book that you have read recently or any podcast that you've listened to?
Well, I have written one last year. My book is out.
It is. Okay.
Women of Firsts by
Yeah.
HarperCollins. I hope somebody will enjoy reading it as much as I have enjoyed writing it. But a book that I have enjoyed reading is Michelle Obama's book.
Okay.
I found it in an airport, and I almost finished it. By the time my journey was over, I almost finished it.
Edna Ishmael, it was a pleasure talking to you. You're truly inspirational, and we wish you good health and a lot of energy to carry forward the work that you've been doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Edna, that was truly a pleasure to hear. Thank you so much for your time. And from behind the scenes, Angela is saying thank you too. Now we'd love to take a moment for another exciting feature of today's program. We have launched WomenServe's online store with beautiful handcrafted items made by artisans in India. Some of the very women we have helped build skills and earn an income to limited edition art and t-shirts. 100% of the proceeds will go directly to helping women and girls in need. So if you're looking for a cozy blanket or a beautiful kimono or even a COVID-friendly mask, head over to womenserve.org/shop. Now it is my pleasure to introduce another incredible woman, leader, entrepreneur, and social change enthusiast, Sohini Bhattacharya. She is currently president and CEO at Breakthrough, a global human rights organization working in the US and India using multimedia popular culture, leadership development, and community mobilization strategies to prevent gender-based violence. Sohini helped found an organization working with women, worked directly with grassroots communities on livelihoods projects, and built market artisan interfaces, and spent 10 years at Ashoka Innovators for the Public, an international organization building an ecosystem for social entrepreneurs. Take it away, Lata.
Sohini Bhattacharya, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you join us on the occasion of the Day of Girl Child that we are celebrating. And Sohini, you are leading a global human rights organization called Breakthrough in India, which is trying to create cultural shift in making violence and discrimination against women and girls unacceptable in India. So it is befitting that you join us on this very important occasion for us. Welcome again. You may be aware that we are currently on the 10th day of an important program called Walk for Girls and Water, and where many of us have walked, jogged, we have cycled and done whatever we like, mainly to create awareness on how the coronavirus pandemic has disproportionately impacted women and girls globally. So, and in WomenServe, our focus in India, in rural Rajasthan, is actually on women and girls who, on an average, spend about 10 hours every day collecting water, and this deprives them of, other opportunities in life, like education, or even for their development of their own personalities. So Sohini, as a woman who's grown up in India, what is the social and the cultural context that you grew up in? And is there any particular incident or a story that you would like to share, which actually led you to your involvement with women and girls?
So first of all, thank you for having me, and congratulations to WomenServe for this wonderful, wonderful event, as well as the work that you do for women and girls. Western Rajasthan is one of the most difficult terrains to work in, so congratulations on that as well. Growing up in India as a woman, you go through your fair share of discrimination, for the color of your skin. I have been always dark, and my parents would hear from relatives and friends, oh, your child is so dark, and how you're going to get her married. My father we were two sisters, so my father had to hear a lot of things like, oh, two girls, and my father used to always respond saying, I'm twice blessed. So yeah, and and then how it is, you listen to catcalls and sexist remarks, you learn to ignore it all. You slap a few groping men in public buses and things like that. So you grew up with all of that, and in a way you actually normalize it, like
That's
many women do. You normalize and you think it's part and parcel of your life. And I would have done the same, but I was lucky to have parents who were very focused on letting us do what we want to do. I come from a very middle class family. My mother was a school teacher all her life. My father worked in the lower ranks of a multinational company, but they stressed on two things. One was education, which was something that they told me was very, very important. And the other thing that I grew up hearing my mother say time and again is that as a woman, it is very, very important for you to stand on your own 2 feet. And as a child, I used to think, I'm standing on my own 2 feet. Whose feet am I standing on? But I think those words actually stayed with me for a long time. So I grew up with a certain militant inclinations where women's rights were concerned, to begin with. But none of it kind of came through till I started really going out to a village close to home, as a part-time project. So like many girls of my, many of my classmates, I had sat for my GRE and I got admitted to a couple of US universities. I was waiting to hear from them, about scholarships and things, when I used to do a lot of theater. So a friend of mine came and said that they have a project in a village close to Calcutta, where I was born. It's in the eastern part of the country, which has to do with creating, communication materials on the issue of the girl child. It was the year of the girl child. And would I be interested in, working with village women to create, skits and songs and things like that? I was, it was lovely because, I was going to get some salary also, which was great at that point of time. So I went out. I went out to the village and I met this bunch of women and I heard their stories, stories of suffering, stories of doing, managing somehow in the face of all odds, stories of domestic violence. And what kind of drew me to was that throughout that whole theme of abuse and discrimination and violence, the resilience that these women had, the ability to laugh it all off, the ability to wake up every morning and do whatever they were wanting to do,
It's wonderful. It's nice. And it's nice to have, people being inspired by their, experiences in life to take up a career, because it does a lot of good for the society, as a large. So great. Uh, Coming to some serious, some of the things that you've written in the recent past, that how pandemics are not, gender neutral, and that they disproportionately impact women and girls. So, can you share how and women and girls get deprioritized in such pandemics? So, can you share from a first-hand experience of how this has happened, maybe in the Indian context?
The one big thing that we have heard is from girls from our community, from the communities where we work. We work across 5 states in India, and we've heard girls say time and again that they are missing meeting their friends in school. They have a fear that they might not be going back to school at all, and that their parents are talking about marriage. So out of the 94,000 calls that Childline received, about 5,400 calls were on child marriage. And
Right.
we've heard firsthand, from the girls in our project areas about how parents are talking about this. So I think
Right.
there are, about 743 million adolescent girls world over. Past crises show that they're most likely to drop out of school after the school closure,
Sure.
which further kind of, entrenches gender gaps in education, leads to
True.
increased rates of early and forced marriages,
Marriages.
early
Yeah.
pregnancy, unplanned or even
The
forced
entire
sexual
cycle.
activity.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
it's a whole cycle, and then risk of physical and sexual abuse by peers or older men. And we've heard so
Sure.
many incidents in the last few
Sure.
months.
Yeah.
And sometimes being pushed into risky employment or transactional sex to cover basic needs. So those are serious issues that girls are
Right.
facing.
Right.
So, and one of the things that we are focused on is that talking constantly to parents and communities the need for girls to go back to school and need for girls to delay the age of marriage. That's something that we are
Right.
engaging in. The other thing has been the unmet health needs for girls and women, because there's been so much attention on COVID-19 that normal,
Right.
uh, reproductive health services like menstrual pads or family planning devices and family planning methods have not been available to young, girls or, young
Yeah.
or women. So that's another thing that we are seeing. So,
Right.
of course, men have suffered too. There's been loss of jobs, there's been loss of incomes and things like that, but these are absolutely different kinds of difficulties that women and girls are going through, and I think there is not enough attention, at least in India, on that.
Right. Okay. Sohini, what do you think? Like currently, the pandemic is still on, right?
Yeah.
So, what are the resources that we need to invest in to ensure that women kind of, endure the current situation, and also once the pandemic is over, how do they actually get back to the regular normal? That's one question, and the other one is, in your opinion, all the work that organizations like yours and also WomenServe have done towards, raising awareness and also work on the issues of women and girls. How has this pandemic impacted? Has it taken our work maybe, a few decades back because of this? So what is it that, what is your opinion on this, and what is it that we can do once the pandemic is over so that women can come back, back to the normal?
So the second part of your question is there an impact on, and will it be difficult for girls and women to go back to the normal ways of life?
Right,
Yes.
right.
I mean, and for girls, the school closure is one of the, most difficult
Absolutely.
problem that
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
see, because, and for NGOs also, losing that touch with community for, 6-7 months of lockdown and,
Absolutely. Yeah,
COVID-19,
yeah. Yeah.
you often see that when girls are staying in a program which is run by either the government or the NGO, then the
Yes, yeah.
chances of them completing education, chances of them delaying marriage is higher. So moment that
That's
kind of support goes away, and then the schools are also shut, very often girls are now sitting at home. Their work at home has increased. They have to look after siblings and do all the things that are home, fetch water, as you have seen in your work. Those must have kind of increased. And with that, there's the uncertainty whether they're ever going to go back to school again.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There was a survey done by somebody in India of about, I think, 6,000 school-going children. And the first thing that they mention is that they are missing meeting their peers, their friends. They haven't
That's true.
met.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I have a 16-year-old daughter who says the same thing, that she hasn't met her friends for such a long time. And you need that support. You need that
That's
support.
true.
Kind
Yeah.
of value.
Peer support. Yeah.
Yes, it's difficult for women and girls, and it's difficult for the NGOs that work with women and girls to keep a sustained, impact, on the work going on, because there will be some regression, definitely. We ourselves work across 1,200 government schools. We have not been able to go to the schools. So when we go back now, there'll be some catching up to do. About what can we do to, prioritize women?
Exactly.
We're talking about deprioritize, but what can we do prioritizing women and girls after the pandemic, or even while the pandemic?
And not just NGOs, maybe even your suggestions. What is it the government should also do?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I don't see it in the priority at all right now.
No.
Yeah. So NGOs definitely, by virtue of their focus, on these issues, would bring it up. But what is it that even the government could do? So
yeah. The adolescent and the young women are our future. And so we have to, and they are still in that education, the age group, where education is important to them. So I think one of the things that governments need to do, and others, civil society organizations need to do, is to prioritize adolescent girls and young women's education, health, and well-being. These are of prime importance. So one is that we have to ensure gender responsive approaches to even this whole digital and the remote learning thing that seems to be, being propounded, because there's a huge gender divide in digital.
There is, yeah.
So huge.
I mean, lots of divide, like rural-urban divide is also there, because the technology is accessible only, very limited in the rural areas.
Absolutely.
And on top of that, gender divide. So, okay, and the last question is, you're aware that during the pandemic, people have been doing all kinds of things because of, kind of the time that has been available to them. So some of them have been exercising, the others have been cooking, a few have been gardening. And from your bio, we learned that you're a passionate cook. So is there any recipe that you tried out during this time that you would like to share?
So I actually, I've always been a very passionate, cook, but I've never baked bread. And this pandemic, and during the lockdown, I learned to bake bread, and that is just so liberating in a way, because
That's lovely.
So much so that my family is saying, okay, let's not buy bread anymore. You will make them. They're much more, tastier than.
Right.
So so I've been making dinner rolls, and I have a basic recipe that is commonly available, and into that I try and put in other fillings like mince or dried nuts and fruits and things like that. And so I've just been enjoying making bread, and I want to do more.
Great. Lovely. You made most of your time there, whatever was available to you.
Yeah.
So, all right. Great. So, Sohini, thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you. And we wish for more power to you for your work with women and girls. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And it was a pleasure speaking to you all, and all the best for the future.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sohini. And what a great interview. That was wonderful to hear about your journey working with women and girls. And we couldn't agree more that sending girls back to school and helping women have skills for a job will be essential for their recovery. It's time again for featured items from the Day of the Girl auction. We have art, we have wine, tea, and beautiful items from India. We also have not one, but 2 trips to 2 very different places. Take your pick. Maui for 2 weeks of resort life, good food, and relaxing on the beach, which has a current bid of just $1,600, airfare included. That's an amazing deal. or go on a 10-day immersion trip to India and visit the WomenServe project villages with our team. Planned for January 2022, we will dig a tanka for a woman and her family, learn about life in Rajasthan, and see how water is changing her life. You can get this today for just $2,000. Bidding is happening through Sunday, so make sure you go to the link below to find some really amazing deals, all while helping empower women and girls. Now we have a very special portion of the program that I've been looking forward to. We are going to go behind the scenes and visiting the home of a woman who has received a tanka, or rainwater catchment tank, and now has water security. We will get to see the impact that water has made in her life and hear her story firsthand.
Hey, if I told you that a cup of chai could change the world, would you believe me? For centuries, women and girls have been born to walk up to 10 hours a day, carrying 40 pounds of water on their heads in the hot sun of the Thar Desert of western Rajasthan, India. This burden prevents them from access to healthcare, hygiene, economic development, and educational opportunities, the basic rights of life.
She has to balance it with the head.
But by putting a modern twist on an ancient traditional rainwater catchment tank called a tanka, WomenServe is providing water security to women, girls, and their families. And I would never have known that the tanka was the solution and just the tip of the iceberg to solving barriers to empowerment for women and girls if it wasn't for a cup of chai and a simple chat in a female farmer's kitchen nearly a decade ago. It was there that I learned about her struggles and where the idea of a tea and tanka was born, as I knew that if other people could hear her stories while learning how to make a traditional cup of chai tea, it would not only raise her voice further, but maybe change their world just like it's changed mine. And to date, more than 100 people have participated in a tea and tanka, and here's just a sip of our experiences.
So that's really heavy. I mean, it's really heavy.
How old was she when she learned how to make chai?
She was like 6 or 7, and she's saying that this is the right age to learn. This is such a basic thing to learn. लकड़ी गट्ठू से ले रहे थे.
They have to collect from the nearby area, and then they collect all these woods.
How long does that take him every day to walk and collect the wood?
2 घंटा 5 हाँ. It depends on the amount. Like some days they spend 2 hours to collect the wood. Some days they spend more than 2 hours, according to the need.
And is she using just wood, or is she using some cow dung in that fire?
She's using both the cow dung and the wood. So first she's adding water.
She's crushing the cardamom, and she'll be putting that in the chai. Ukal kya pani? Pani ukal. Chai. She's adding some tea to the water. She's saying that she's added all the ingredients. Now she's adding milk.
How many times a day do they make chai?
दिन में कितनी बार चाय बन जाए था? She's saying that they survive on this tea. So they make it like 3 times a day.
What do you mean they survive on it?
When they have to rest, they drink tea. And they, so it's a relief for the headache.
So before they had the tanka, how far did they walk?
2 hours approximately.
One trip?
One trip.
There and back. Wow. How many times a day?
कितने टाइम जाता दिन में पानी लेने? कितनी बार जाना पड़ता? 3-4 times a day.
So after school and before school, were they going and carrying water with their mother?
So in school, जी हाँ भाई टांगों को नहीं देती स्कूल वहाँ पानी भरन जानता क्या?
Yeah. What was the last thought on her mind when she went to sleep at night?
The last thought would be water.
I mean, even this is work to get your water, right?
क्या भाई अब पानी लाने कौन जान पड़े जब टाइम ज़्यादा मिले तो काहीं करो भी टाइम में थे पढ़ो और काहीं करो No, they're using the time in study and playing.
So what does the mom do now that she doesn't have to go get water.
So she's a tailor basically, so she stitches clothes for the other women in this area. She's able to wash the clothes of all the kids every day, and she can use the water for the animals. She used to wake up at 6 in the morning, and now it's like 7 or 7:50.
When she comes back from the field, even if it's late, she doesn't have to worry about water because she has water next to her.
Then cycle मिला कितना time हो गया? Cycle कब मिली?
2 साल हो गया।
2 साल? 2 years.
So how long is your commute to school then with your cycle?
आधा घंटा, half hour.
ले रहा है कि जानो भी अपनी चिल्ली ओडो और साला
Salka, she reminds me of my grandma.
Look at, she just ripped that thing right off. She's like, I'm done with that.
कौन से तो घणे मजेदार हो बिना नाच
She reminds her of her grandmother.
I have worked with WomenServe for over 2 years, and it is incredible to see what a difference water can make. It changes everything. It is why we are here today and why we are raising awareness for the importance of water for girls and women. So I want to take a moment and thank everyone who is with us tonight and everyone who's been participating in the Walk for Girls and Water over the past 10 days. Had such a difficult time. We really had to consider whether we would go forward with the walk in the event. Like so many, we've been hit pretty hard by the economic downturn. We know that life is difficult right now. But we are committed to continuing this work. We are doubling down. We are working harder than ever with our team to deploy innovative solutions, using remote training and safety programs, connecting those in need to vital resources, and forming partnerships to leverage our resources and reach even more people. Now, I am so pleased to hand it back to Naima to present this year's Water Hero Award.
Thank you so much, Christine. This is a very special award that we give to recognize someone who has displayed uncommon generosity and commitment to helping women and girls by giving life-saving access to water. This year, I have the great privilege of giving this award to an organization who has been with us for over 3 years and who has shown unwavering support and belief in our mission. I would like to say if WomenServe was a tree, this organization would be one of our strongest roots. This organization has helped us build over 56 traditional rainwater catchment systems, which are called tankas, that give women and girls water right at their homes. And I can say firsthand from my experience how life-changing this resource is for families in this region of the world. And now I will present the WomenServe 2020 Water Hero Award to Global Overview. And it's being accepted by Carl Gojen. Carl, if you would please have the honor of accepting this award, which we have conveniently shipped to your office in the form of, why don't you open it and show us?
First of all, here's the award, and I will now open the other portion. Oh, cool. Oh, wow. So just so everyone can see, this is, well, Naoma, I should have you describe it, and also it has a name on it as well.
Yes. So this is Taro Davies' pot that she used to carry her water to her home. And now you have this pot, which she no longer needs to carry. she is now free of her burden of carrying water for the last 50 years, thanks to your generosity and your company's generosity. So I just like this to be a reminder for you of all the women and girls whose lives you have changed, truly changed through the gift of water. So this pot is a token of appreciation for you to just keep and remember always the impact you have had all these years. We are so grateful to you, Carl, and to your organization, your unwavering support.
Well, from Global Overview, you know, this means a great deal to us. It's, I think back to the moments almost 4 years ago. I think it was in spring, seeing a video of what WomenServe was doing and impacting women's lives in a place that may not be in a zip code that we all recognize, but it was making such a difference for those who really aren't necessarily forgotten, but not given the opportunity to have an opportunity to really gain education, gain a path forward in a future that is something they can believe in and what they can own. And it's just a great pleasure for Go to be fortunate enough to be invited to participate in this. I view it as that while we have been able to donate, funds to support this, it is without doubt, it is one of the organizations that we are proud to be a part of because of the passion of the people in the organization to go invest in their time to build the opportunity for these young girls. And whether it's a Tonka or providing bikes so that they can get to school, there's just an opportunity to facilitate just a development for these young women that didn't exist before. And I believe that what Go aspires to be is we are about integrity, and we are about people, and we're about providing opportunity. And that is exactly what WomenServe does. I think uniquely enough, this has dents in it, which speaks to the fact that how true everything is, that in our lives we sometimes hit dents, bumps, and we need people to give us that opportunity. And it's just a great pleasure to be a part of WomenServe and to see the difference that you are making for people. And it is just something that within our organization, it gives us great pleasure. I'm so impressed by the leadership that you have been committed to this for so long, and you are able to give to us really a sense of hope that we are providing opportunity outside of our sphere of influence. We at Go believe in people, and people are our greatest resource, and we aspire to allow our people to invest in the communities they're part of. But it's also important for us to make sure we're giving back to the communities we can't see that are potentially less fortunate at the moment than we are. So I want to just say thank you again for this. And, for those who are wondering about whether they can help or should support this organization, my answer is yes, that you can invest and know that the leadership of this group and the people who are in country have passionately been making a difference for others. And so once again, I just want to thank you on behalf of Global Overview. And one day, hopefully I'll get a chance to see the future of Taro because she doesn't have to carry this any longer. Thank you.
Carl, thank you so much. That was really beautifully said. And our partnership is just so meaningful. And together we will walk in that desert very soon. You will meet the people you've helped. And one of these days, very soon, when we can travel again, we'll make that happen.
I'm looking forward to it. I definitely am.
Blessings on you.
Thank you.
We want to introduce our team in India. These are the dedicated individuals who have been working on the front lines throughout the pandemic to bring vital resources to communities and make sure the most vulnerable women and girls have what they need. We asked each of them to answer this question. What is the single most important thing people can do for girls to impact their future? Here's what they have to share.
कई ऐसे उदाहरण हैं और हमें समाज के लोगों के साथ बात करने की या चर्चा करने की आवश्यकता है कि महिलाओं और लड़कों और लड़कियों की एक ही भावना होनी चाहिए। जैसे जितना हक लड़कों का है उतना हक लड़कियों का भी होना चाहिए और एक बेटी पढ़ेगी तो 2 पीढ़ी सुधरेगी। हमें बालिकाओं और महिलाओं के आत्मबल को बढ़ावा देना है।
लेकिन यहाँ पे मूल समस्या बालिकाओं को लेके है कि स्कूल से उनकी दूरी और उनका संसाधनों की कमी, उस वजह से बालिकाएं पढ़ाई से वंचित रह जाती हैं और अपने घर पर रुक जाती हैं। इस वजह से उनकी बचपन में शादी कर दी जाती है और इस वजह से जब वो शिक्षा से वंचित रह जाती हैं तो उनका स्वास्थ्य और उनका विकास, मानसिक विकास, बौद्धिक विकास और शारीरिक विकास रुक जाता है। तो आइए हम सब मिलके इस शिक्षा की महत्वपूर्ण कड़ी को, इस इल्म की कड़ी को मजबूत करें ताकि महिलाएं आगे जाके अपने परिवार को, अपने गांव को, अपने समाज को आगे बढ़ा सकें, क्योंकि शिक्षा इस दुनिया को बदलने का सबसे महत्वपूर्ण हथियार है।
हमारे क्षेत्र में बालिकाओं की शिक्षा बहुत ही कम है और कम उम्र में उनकी शादी कर दी जाती है और उनको शिक्षा से वंचित रख देते हैं। इसलिए मैं जो बात कर रही हूँ बालिका शिक्षा को लेकर, हम सबको अपनी सोच को बदलना होगा और लड़कों की तरह लड़कियों को भी शिक्षा का अवसर देना होगा, जिससे बालिकाएं पढ़ लिख कर अपने जीवन को सुधार पाए और अपने परिवार को सुधार पाए और अपने आने वाली पीढ़ी को सुधार पाए। मैं चाहती हूँ कि सभी लोग मन से अपनी बेटियों को पढ़ाएं और आगे बढ़ाएं।
The condition of women and girls in Western Rajasthan is very poor because of the low level of education, social attitudes, poor economic conditions, water scarcity and early marriage. The women and girls are neither empowered to take decision nor they are involved in the household decision making. This condition could be improved if we empower women and girls by providing them quality educations and water. The education and the water availability will improve and provide them immense opportunities. If a woman is educationally and economically empowered, then she can have the control of her own life and she can take better decisions.
70% परिवार ग्रामीण क्षेत्र में रहवास कर रहे हैं। यहाँ पर जो ग्रामीण क्षेत्र में रहवास कर रहे, जो दूर दराज की ढाणियों में रहते हैं, उनको शिक्षा के, बालिका शिक्षा के प्रति इतना जागरूकता नहीं है, इसलिए बालिकाएं शिक्षा से वंचित रहती हैं और वंचित रहने के कारण बाल विवाह करना आदि कारण हैं। इनके लिए हम सब मिलकर इस बालिका शिक्षा में बढ़ोतरी के लिए आगे आना पड़ेगा।
Education is the most important means of empowering girls and women, as it has a tremendous impact not only on their own development but also on the families, the communities and the nation as a whole. Hence, we must support and encourage girls' education.
There you have it. We can all make a difference today. There are so many things that we can do individually and together to help girls and women around the world. We are coming to the end of our evening together. So I want to hand it over to Naoma one last time and Angela, who will be joining us for the Walk for Girls and Water virtual finish line.
All right. Thank you, Christine. We have made it. What a remarkable gift this evening has been. It was so incredible to hear from Edna and Sohini and really hear about the impact of COVID-19 on women and girls in the world. But importantly, also what we can do about it, how we can help. We got to see the impact of water on a woman and girl's life. And we heard updates from our India team on what they see as important to change a girl's future. But most of all, we got to celebrate, and we are celebrating all of you, all of our wonderful supporters. You all have truly made a difference. I want you to know that. In the lives of women and girls, like you saw, Kalu tonight and Arushi. And now we want to celebrate the end of WomenServe's first ever virtual walk for girls in water and cross the finish line together.
Yes, how exciting. This is the final moment. Hi, everyone. I'm Angela Benton, Operations Manager for WomenServe. And I have had the pleasure of working with many of you very closely as we brought this event together and as we walked together for the last 10 days. So I want to say thank you personally for your dedication and for joining us in this first ever virtual walk and Day of the Girl celebration. So here it is, the Walk for Girls in Water virtual finish line. I wish it were a more exciting finish line or that we could cross it together in person. But for now, give yourself a round of applause. You did it. Now it is my honor to recognize some of the top teams, walkers, and fundraisers who have made an amazing effort to walk, share, and raise awareness and funds for girls and women. We are going to recognize top participants in a couple of areas: top walkers, biggest teams, and most funds raised, both individually and as teams. We also will be sending some prizes to these top participants. So Naoma, do you want to share a little bit about what they'll be getting?
Well, yes, I'm so happy that we can share some tokens of thanks, that we have generous sponsors and donors, where we have abundance to share from WomenServe, from artisans that we support, and from traditional medicinals, of course. We have goodies from them and Urban Moonshine, among other things like wine and different items. So be ready for a surprise in the mail and keep your eyes out for that, because you will enjoy everything we have.
All right, amazing. I hope you guys are excited for those gifts coming your way soon. Now I am honored and so happy to announce that over the last 30 days, through pledges and through the 10-day walk itself, we have raised $140,000. That is so incredible and will help us continue our work in 2020 and into 2021. Thank you so much. Now, on to our top participants. For most funds raised per team, we would like to recognize Apex Marketing, who raised over $25,000. Thank you, Apex. Second place goes to Rotary Club of Silicon Andhra. Thank you so much. For most funds raised individually, we have Dushyant, another team member from Rotary Club of Silicon Andhra, and second place goes to Henry from Team MDP. Really amazing job, and Henry, I've so enjoyed watching your story and walk each day. For the biggest team, we have to give it to Traditional Medicinals, who had 75 members walking for Girls in Water. Way to go, TM. We also want to recognize one more time Rotary Club of Silicon Andhra, with 23 members walking with us. On another note, we had 202 walkers join us for this first ever virtual walk, and we are so grateful for all of you showing up and walking with us. So even though I'm just recognizing a few top walkers, all of you have really shown up and made such a difference and helped us raise awareness for these girls and women. So for our last two, we have had incredible spirit and determination in two teams who walked so much further than we expected. Team MDP walked an impressive 146 miles with 2 walkers. And Team Rotary Club of Silicon Andhra walked 294 miles in 10 days. And of course, our top 2 individual walkers come from these 2 teams. Jason walked 110 miles from Team MDP. Go Jason and go Team MDP. And finally, our top walker is Dushyant, coming in at 151 miles over the 10 days. That is truly incredible. Just think about that for a minute. 15 miles a day. That is about the distance that many girls and women walk daily to collect the water that they need. Imagine if that was your life, not for 10 days, but every day. Many of you have now lived the experience and have a small taste of what that's like. And you've shown up and walked in her shoes. So we hope that this experience stays with you and that you continue to raise awareness for girls and water in the future. Lastly, we know that this pandemic has impacted many people financially. And for us, it's been huge as well. It's the reason that we're here, that we had to go on with this event digitally, with our team remote and all of the challenges that go with that. So thank you for pivoting with us to this event. And the truth is, We still need support if we're going to continue our mission to empower girls and women and to ensure that they recover from the effects and setbacks of coronavirus. So I'm going to ask you to help us raise another $50,000 by the end of the year. I know that's a lot, but we just raised $140,000, so I know we can make it. And we really need to get there to be where we need to be by the end of the year. So we want you to take care of yourself. It's been a really hard time, but we ask that you keep participating in whatever way you can, because we need you and women and girls need you. We aren't backing down, and we ask that you stick with us too to help support our team in the US and India so we can continue this work. You can share our mission and share our page. You can give directly today. You can shop our online store or our auction to buy some amazing items where proceeds will go directly to benefit our work. Or if it's not the right time, keep us in mind and give when you can, however you can. You are what keeps WomenServe healthy, operational, and able to fulfill our commitment to these women and girls. So thank you so much. All right, here is back to our fearless leader, Naoma.
Thank you, Angela, so much. I really hope you all have had a wonderful time tonight with us. And I'm really sure we will continue to hear from you in the future through these really challenging times and beyond, because we have much work to do yet. There's many unreached areas in the Great Thar Desert of Western Rajasthan, where many women and girls continue to walk every day. And we've all heard how COVID, we all know that COVID has really, really impacted all of our lives, everywhere in the world. And as we heard tonight, it has certainly disproportionately impacted women and girls in India and around the world. But it has not changed your support of WomenServe and our unwavering commitment together to continue to be there in the communities we serve. I am so proud and honored by everyone here. Our team in the US, our team in India, our fundraisers, our sponsors, volunteers, donors, and all of our wonderful walkers. There are many, many more of you that have walked that haven't logged the miles. So all of you are winners, because many, many of you walk every night and say prayers for these women and girls and tell me about it. But there is nowhere that it's logged, but I know that you've walked, many more miles have been done by many more of you than has been recorded. So you are all helping us make sense of this truly complex time and understand its impact. But more importantly, with your support, we are making such a big difference in the world. We are really, truly creating a ripple effect for these women and girls we serve. So thank you all so much for helping us make and create such a wonderful walk for Girls in Water and this evening's program where we're celebrating the International Day of the Girl Child. Your support truly, truly makes this all possible. You are the heartbeat and the life force in our work. You are the life force that runs through the tree of WomenServe. So a big round of applause to all of you, please. Wherever you are, please give yourself a big pat on the back. And I just want to say, Angela Benton, you're a true angel. We could not have made any of this without you. You've been working night and day, like 10 people. And all the people that have been working with us alongside you made this possible. So I wanted to say, may all be happy in the world. And I'll leave by saying, Namaste, Om Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, which means may there be peace on earth and in all beings. Good night. Thank you for joining.